All right. I'm excited to be here with you today. I'm AJ McMahon, and wherever you are, whatever you're doing, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to journey together. I was able to get started on this earlier. I had an entire presentation for you all with this video, but the YouTube live was freezing and messing up, and I was into it and I was sharing. That didn't work out, so we're adapting. Sometimes when it comes to empowering children and overcoming ADHD, we've got to adapt. And so here we are, I'm adapting. So, what I'm going to do today is just give you an intro to this 5-part series that I'm excited to share with you all. And it starts with a story of when I was about 9 years old. And I would ask my mom, single mom raising my older sister and I would ask her what was for dinner. And I would ask what was for dinner because I was a picky eater and I was curious because dinner was a meal where we were able to have food. Mom always provided, didn't go hungry. This was a great blessing. She took care of us. What was for dinner was what was for dinner. There wasn't something else. You either ate what was for dinner or you didn't. And I would check because I wanted to know what was for dinner. Mom told me to open the freezer, look on the door of the freezer, and that's what we were having for dinner that night. So imagine a 9-year-old child. They open the freezer door, they see a box, a small box, and there's two images on the box, and both of them are identical. And these two images look like something that the child is very familiar with and something excited about. They look like little mini pies. All right. Have you ever had a pie? Right. I'm talking about the traditional pie. I'm not talking about these pies nowadays that, we got to do all these adaptations. I'm talking about, have you ever had a pie, like an apple pie or a cherry pie, the golden flaky crust, the ridges, the whole thing? Well, when I opened the freezer and I looked at this box, there was a double image that looked something like this. Okay. And you can see part of this golden flaky crust, and I got excited. I could not believe that my mom was going to allow me to have pie for dinner. On the top of the box, it said pot pie. I thought that just pot was just a number, another name for little pie, right? Because there were these little. They were smaller than the regular big pies, but who cares? I am dancing, I am dreaming throughout the day, no joke, apple, cherry. This was going to be a festival. Maybe it was peach. Not that excited about peach, to be honest. But hey, whatever. This is pie. Greatest day of my life. Can't wait for dinner. I am literally excited, right? If you ever seen that old Bill Cosby thing about how he gave his children cake for breakfast and his dad is great. It gives me chocolate cake. I mean, I was thinking I did not have a rhyme for it. I did not have a time for it, but my mouth was watering thinking of the beautiful pie that I was going to have for dinner. Nighttime came, couldn't wait, got the pie. It's steaming in front of me. Golden flaky crust. Get the fork. Can't wait. Is it apple? Is it cherry? Let me dig in. I dig into this thing, and the first thing I see, the first thing I notice is something green. That was the first indication that things were maybe a little bit different than what I anticipated. So I dig in further. I'm starting to really dig in, and I see this milky brown stuff and green and orange. And what is this? I could not believe it. I am incredulous. Didn't know what that word was back then. But if there was an expression, that was it. 9-year-old incredulity. What is this thing? Get the box, look at it closer, and in it I see other words around the box that I didn't notice before, something like chicken or turkey, and I'm thinking, what is this abomination? This is an abomination in front of me. I am a child. I'm expecting apples and cherries and sugar plums from the stories. I don't care what those are, but I take anything over what was in front of me. This thing was totally uncool. And my experience was Totally different than what I expected. It was something below the surface that I did not expect, I did not anticipate, but that was what was there. We get an opportunity here to be able to understand that we get to go below the surface. When you look at these boxes now, when I go to the store and I'm looking for this prop, all the boxes, hey, don't the duct tape, right? Can do anything. We know about duct tape. Don't act like you don't know about duct tape. Okay. So these boxes now have these pictures that show the inside of the pot pies, let you know what was in there. And I'm sure it's because they didn't want any more kids to be traumatized with their experience. So now all these boxes of pot pies, even the generic ones, have the pictures of the green and the other stuff in there to let you know what's below the surface. But when it comes to ADHD, we don't often get the opportunity to look below the surface. In fact, we're not encouraged to look below the surface. We get a pervasive, flaky crust when it comes to ADHD. It doesn't mean it's without difficulties, but what is on the surface is not what is below. What's below the surface is what we're going to get into in this 5-part series. We're going to dive into an orange life, right? We look at this. What color is it? Orange. What is the name? It's an orange, nothing fancy, right? No fancy, name, nothing out of the universe, right? With this is an orange. The color is orange. And when you open it up inside, what is in there? It's orange, right? So it's what it is. We get an opportunity to see ADHD for what it is, not what we want it to be, not what we're told it is, but what is it really? And when we get to explore that, we get to look at the accurate information that can be difficult but empowering. Think back to any experience that you've had in your life, a personal experience, maybe for yourself or a loved one or someone you knew, maybe a coworker, where they or you were faced with new information, maybe something different than you always thought, you suspected. Maybe it was with health, maybe it was with food, maybe it was with diet. Who knows? But something you encountered, maybe it was with a person, right? If you dated online, sometimes, what things appear to be might be different when you get below the surface. But we get this opportunity to be empowered with the accurate information. And when we bring about our courage and resilience, we get this opportunity to do two things that we're going to work on in this series. We're going to get the chance to challenge the narrative and embrace transformation. Challenge the narrative and embrace transformation. That's what we get to do together. I'm excited to go on this 5-part series. I've had the opportunity. I'm trying to connect with y'all every other Thursday in the morning. But whenever you watch this, thank you for being here. We get the chance to journey and to find the orange truth, the stuff for what it is, the accurate info to empower you. None of this is going to be about blame or shame or anything to take away. Will it be challenging information? I think it will be, but I also think it will be an opportunity for transformation. So we get to challenge the narrative, embrace transformation in this journey together. Thank you for being here. I hope to, in the next week, to be able to do what I had originally hoped to do today and to present part one. Part one will be me sharing my journey of how I got here, how it was in my practice where I soaked up the surface of ADHD, where it was the golden flaky crust of what I was inundated with about what ADHD is, and then my journey to be able to look deeper below that crust and be quite surprised as to what I found in the history, the science, and the DSM, short for the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders by the American Psychiatric Association, the only source of diagnosis for ADHD. When I was able to get below the surface, I found information that I hope to share with you. So, part one will be titled Disillusion. And then we're going to go to into other parts. We're going to get into the 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 psychotropic drugs and the history of that. We're going to get into um, other aspects that I think will be helpful. I have here my parts, so bear with me. Okay, so part one is disillusion. Part two is 3D. How many of you remember the movies, the videos, the glasses? We'll get into that, maybe a little retro stuff, but we're going to talk about disorder, discernment, and divergence. Important concepts. The psychotropic drugs and the history, which are tied together. Discernment. We get a chance to look at the numbers and stats and other information that can be very enlightening. And then discipline, what part that plays in being able to help us to challenge the narrative, but then embrace transformation, the empowerment that comes. Thanks for being here. I'm empowered. I'm excited. Leave a like or a comment. I am excited for us to be able to continue to connect. Please stay tuned for this series, and please hope that the videos work and things so that we can journey together to empower children to overcome ADHD. I'm AJ, wherever you are, whoever you are. Be well, be blessed. You're worth it. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.